played at high volume.
Welcome to Outta Pocket. Here's your host, Michael Davis.
It's time to get out of pocket. I'm your host, Michael Davis, on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. You can say hey to us in the comment section on our YouTube channel. Have your comment pop on the screen. Get a shout out. I'm joined by one of my co-hosts from the Cat Cave, Shannon Smith. We'll be dropping a new episode tomorrow afternoon on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and Fans First Sports Network. And, of course, the producer of Tobacco Road Sports Radio, Desmond Johnson. I will have Mike Mele on from the Mouth Alpha the Mike Wrestling podcast here in a few minutes, but wanted to touch on some Charlotte sports and some hoops action that happened over the weekend. And mainly, I wanted to get Dez's reaction because, and Shannon too, he's a UNC fan, but JJ Redick, former Duke player, really good Duke player, if I might add, is considering and is going to be interviewed for the Charlotte Hornets head coaching job. Now, Shannon, the first time I met you, I overheard you at the other table at a local restaurant here in Wilkesboro talking about JJ Redick. Do you think JJ Redick would be a good fit as the Charlotte Hornets head coach?
I actually like the idea of it. I want to see more of JJ coaching, but I've caught a lot of JJ on his podcast and him just talking about basketball and looking at his pro career. I like JJ Redick's pro career. Like, he was a player that he had a lot of professionalism about him. He was a very grimy player. He was very tough in the league, and there were a lot of people that counted him in the league, but JJ actually had a good career. He might not have had like a Hall of Fame career or anything like that, but he had a very, very productive career in the NBA. I've been hearing him talk. I see how he conducts himself in front of the people. I don't see why not. I don't know about head coaching now, on the other hand, because I want to see what he's got as a coach, but as a leader, a voice in the locker room, I think JJ Redick does have the tangibles to do it. But, he's going to have a tough road to hoe if he does get the Charlotte Hornets job. But I think it's a good idea talking to him. I think it is.
All right, Des, what do you think? Do you think JJ Redick could be a good candidate for the Hornets coaching job?
Potentially. I mean, just like Shannon, I've been paying attention to the new LeBron JJ Redick podcast that they have out. And literally at the beginning of each one, it's JJ for about 10 minutes or 12 minutes, just literally going through the basketball terms they're going to be using in the podcast. And he's like drawing up diagrams on like a whiteboard or whatever. Clearly knows the game. And he clearly knows where the game is going in terms of spacing and all that kind of stuff. He's a big fan of today's game in terms of the spacing compared to like the 90s or whatever. He didn't have any head coaching experience at this level. I think he coached his kids' team like in school or something like that. I think and that's like 7th grade or something to that effect. So this will be interesting. If he nails the interview and they want to go someplace fresh, it's not like you can't just bring in somebody who's never been a head coach in the NBA before. Look at Eric Spoelstra. You know what I mean? Like, it just depends on the mind that you bring in and what you surround him with. I don't really have a problem with them interviewing him. I'm still in the camp. I want them to send out a flyer for Dawn Staley in South Carolina. That's who I want them to interview. Even if she don't get it, I want them to interview her. I know they're interviewing the lady that runs the G Ignite or the G League team for, I think, the Spurs, Lindsay Harding, I think her name was. She's actually one of the candidates. But if you're going to interview her, you need to interview the best female coach in the country, in Dawn Staley. I would want her first, but I don't really have a problem with JJ interviewing, or if he even gets it. Like, it's kind of a new day in Charlotte. So I don't typically hate Duke players after they leave Duke, which is a perception. A lot of folks think that you just carry this hate with them forever, unless they're Christian later. But other than that, I don't have any like hate towards JJ or anybody after they leave Duke, really. So
or Zion Williamson.
I'm cool with JJ.
I like Zion when he was at Duke. Like, that was the weird part about it. Like, Zion, I was cheering Zion on while he's a Duke player. So that rivalry has changed a little bit. Well, it's changed a lot, especially over the past 5 years. But I'm not one of those guys that's like, no, I don't want him to coach the Hornets because he played for Duke back in the early 2000s. Like, that doesn't really compute.
I'm cool with JJ Redick because he could never beat Tyler Hansborough ever in his college career. So I'm
forward, Cameron. Going forward, Cameron.
At home.
Hansborough Indoor Stadium. Yeah.
All right. We'll move on because one of Dez's teams failed to beat the Denver Nuggets last night, and I get to rub a little salt in the wound today. And I'll get to rub salt in the wound in Ryan Frick tomorrow on the Cat Cave, as I always do. Des, when you think about these Lakers, also join on screen Mike Mealy from Mouthing Off with Mike Wrestling Podcast, hopping in right now as I ask Des, what's going on with this Lakers team? I mean, I know the Nuggets are good. I know they're the 2 seed, but going down 0-2, are you happy with this?
No, I'm not happy with it, but I'm not really surprised. You ask what's going on with this Laker team. They ran into Denver. That's what's wrong with them. Like, I mean, it's really pretty cut and dry. The Lakers were up by 20 last night in the second half and still somehow lost that game. Anthony Davis scored like 38 points or something, and they still lost that game. And I was thinking about it because I watched the whole game last night. Anthony Davis, Jokic can't guard him. He can't guard Anthony Davis. That's the one thing that they've got, that if Anthony Davis decides to be 35-point Anthony Davis, there's literally nothing Denver can do to stop it. On the other hand, they can't really stop Jokic either on the other side. And Jokic had like 27 points, 22 rebounds, and like 14 assists or something nuts last night. Like, they showed a graphic of him. I think I can't remember the graphic now, but it was like the only people, if he wins MVP and I think wins another title, the only people that would be in his category in NBA history are like Jordan, Shaq, Magic, Bird. I think that's it. And Duncan, I think. And like, that's the only ones who would have won 3 league MVPs, a finals MVP, and won 3 rings or something to that effect. Jokic is entering this territory. Well, he should not forget that. He's there. Jokic is in this territory of legend at this point now. And you watch his game, and you're just like, damn it, I don't understand this. Like, like, what's he doing all this stuff? But Lakers are in trouble. Lakers are in danger, as the meme would say. They are in big danger. They might get one when they go back to LA, but I don't expect them to topple Denver. If anything, out of the West right now, the team I would say would probably topple Denver is Minnesota.
Good luck. Good luck.
Anthony Edwards is a problem. Kendrick Perkins said it on First Take yesterday, actually, and I had to stop for a minute. I was like, you know what? He's kind of got something here. Anthony Edwards right now is 1987 Michael Jordan. Like, that is what he is doing right now. It's the year right before everybody in the league acknowledged he was the greatest player in the game currently. Yeah. His first MVP was 88. He won all dunk contests, defensive player of the year, scoring champ, all that stuff was 88. 87 was the year where it was like, you could kind of see it, like it was coming. There was nothing anybody could do to stop it. I kind of see that with Anthony Edwards, man. I think he's going to be the face of the league. Like, he's ridiculous. Like, Minnesota's really good.
If they can keep that Minnesota squad together, like they tried to, like they couldn't keep KG and Stephon Marbury together, then Minnesota might be what they should have been.
You remember when everybody was clowning Minnesota last year because they traded off 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert, and everybody was clowning them? Now look at them. They're the 1 seed in the West, and they're the ones that I think they could actually defend Denver. Like, I really do.
Well, we're seeing, like the Duke team where you had to play Kyle Filipowski out of position. He's less effective at the 5 than he was at the 4. You bring in Rudy Gobert, that allows Cat to play the 4, which he's most effective in. So we'll have to keep the tabs on the NBA playoffs as we move forward on. Out of Pocket will be your destination. Derek's definitely an interesting take. Shout out to Wayne. Wayne's usually here talking wrestling. He'll be back on Tobacco Road super early. Ruth likes the Dawn pick to Charlotte Hornets. We'll see what happens there. I'm sure Ryan Frick loves that as well with his South Carolina Gamecocks. And you see Mike on the screen. We're going to get Top Rope Tuesday here in just a moment. But before we do that, I really got to ask Shannon. There was an NFL trade that happened. Okay, we're trying to fit in NBA, NFL, and then Top Rope Tuesday. Zach Wilson got traded from the Jets to the Broncos. Shannon, on air, I just wanted your opinion real quick.
Well, it's got to be tough when you were the second overall pick 3 years ago and you get traded for a 7th round pick. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow, but let's be honest here. You know, Wilson gets a new chance with a new team. He needed a new team with a bad pub in New York. And New York's done with him because they'd rather trust a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers on a bad leg than Zach. That ought to tell you something right there. That ought to just tell you something. Wilson's still young. He has room to grow. But my grievance is with the Denver Broncos. The way they done Russell Wilson last year, the way they did them. MD, go ahead and get me on record for saying this. I don't like Denver more than I don't like Dallas. Denver's up there.
Wow.
They done after how they done that, man. And I don't like Russ because Russ went to NC State and he played for Seattle. You know, that's the only reason why I don't like Russ. But as far as professionalism, as far as being a man, a stand-up guy, they done him wrong. And I hope Denver gets what's coming to him this year. So I'm going to be watching to see what they do with Zach Wilson and his messing around with moms and all that other stuff. You want that guy running your team? Okay.
It seems like karma is in fact in the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Little T Swift,
I'm not a big
T
Denver fan
Swift
myself.
reference
They-
for you this early, but
They beat my Panthers in Super Bowl 50. I'm not a huge Denver Bronco fan, so whatever
Denver
comes their way, I'm all
mother's
for it.
going
So,
nuts right now. Wayne,
Wow.
Wayne is out of pocket.
I don't know what's worse. Wayne's out of pocket comment, Shannon's out of pocket take right there. It'll be. I don't even know if Zach Wilson is going to be the guy in Denver.
No.
I almost feel like they're
No.
going to draft a quarterback first round
Mhm.
and have
He's a
him
backup.
compete. And
He's a backup for this point of his career. Like, I mean, some
hope
stranger
so.
things have happened. Maybe he somehow turns it around, but I don't even think he's a Sean Payton type quarterback, to be honest. So I'm not really sure why they pulled the trigger on the trade other than just having a backup quarterback. But who else was in that draft class? Wasn't Sam Darnold in that draft class too?
I
He
think
was.
so.
Yeah.
And somebody else, Baker Mayfield, in that draft class?
No.
I don't know. Maybe not Darnold. I think
I don't
Zach
think Zach.
Wilson.
Because he
It
went
was the
two. Who went
2021
one?
NFL draft.
Who went number one in that draft?
My goodness.
Number
Above
one
that.
was Trevor Lawrence, I believe.
Trevor Lawrence. Oh, that's
Yeah.
that draft. Yeah, there's a couple quarterbacks in that draft. All of them have been traded, I think, except for Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Trey
So-
Lance was in that class. That was a Jalen Waddle class. Yeah, that was a class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine not having Trevor Lawrence drop to you and picking Zach Wilson or Trey Lance at number 3. Justin Fields was in that class. Mac Jones was in that class. All of those guys were first round picks. And the only one who's, lived up to the hype is Trevor Lawrence. Yeah,
God,
that
Rough.
was a wild. Yeah,
What a
that was
weird-
a wild
Weird
draft.
quarterback class. Wow. Speaking of drafts, baby, draft this week.
Yeah, the NFL draft will be this week. We'll have a big special this Thursday talking about that. It's going to be awesome. WWE also has a draft. We'll be talking about that tomorrow on Drop the Mic. But we have Top Rope Tuesday here on the show. Mike hosts a wrestling podcast, as do I. Shannon's been on Drop the Mic a few times. They announced that the King of the Ring tournament is coming back. So if you're a wrestling fan, give us a shout in the comments. Who do you think is going to win the King of the Ring tournament this year? And what's your favorite King of the Ring memory of all time? Mike, I'll start with you on this one.
I saw it. We saw it last night on Raw, ladies and gentlemen. The Ring General Gunther. That man is no longer the Intercontinental Champion. He's no longer binded by that title. He can do whatever he wants. Give me King Gunther or hear me out. Give me King Drew McIntyre. As for that second follow-up question, what my favorite King of the Ring moment is, it's going to sound weird, but I really loved when Zelina Vega won Queen of the Ring. I know it's not King of the Ring, but I don't know, man. You could tell when she won, like, that meant so much to her because that was like her first, like, really big win. So give me Zelina Vega winning Queen of the Ring. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, That's a really good shout out. And Queen of the Ring will be back this year as well, I believe. They're going to do that premium live event in Saudi Arabia. Shannon, you've watched a lot of King of the Ring tournaments. You might know Shattered Dreams, even though he never won. What is your favorite King of the Ring memory, and who do you expect to win the tournaments this year?
Without a doubt, my favorite King of the Ring memory has to be when Stone Cold Steve Austin came out. That was the best King of the Ring moment. Austin 316. That's the hands down best King of the Ring moment of all time. Had to be turn the Attitude Era to it. It was great. But what Mike said, it makes a lot of sense to have Gunther win it, and I think it's going to be him. I believe it. But hear me out on this one. King L.A.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be the guy that I would love to have as King of the Ring. Because it makes a lot of sense, because Gunther could be the super heel for King of the Ring, and then L.A. Knight could be the super babyface. Dude, that would be perfect. Okay, so L.A. Knight lost to AJ Styles for the #1 contendership. Gunther loses the Intercontinental Championship. So it's got to be one of those two. I don't see anybody else being there. They're going to have some fillers in there, but I think it's got to be down to one of them. Has to be.
Wow.
So I got some questions because I haven't watched Raw yet from last night. I always watch it Tuesday nights when I get home from work. But have they put anything with the winner of the King of the Ring? Like, do they get a chance to main event SummerSlam or something like that? Or is it just like you're the title or the crown or whatever, and that's it?
And we don't know yet. They're filling
it's just been announced.
Okay. I'm going to go a different route because I thought of both of those, Gunther and LA Knight. I'm going to land on Jey Uso because if it's not something where he's guaranteed a #1 contender or a championship thing or something, it's just like a title or something he can have, then I think it would benefit Jey more than anybody else in terms of what they're trying to proposition him up to. And looking at what's going on with the Bloodline right now in terms of the chess pieces they're kind of moving around, it feels like in the draft they're going to move Jimmy to Raw and keep Jey on Raw, so you can kind of reunite the Usos over there. The key is you can't let them cross paths, like the Solo side and the Uso side. You can't let them cross paths until you're ready, like when Roman's back. So if you put Jimmy over there, maybe he helps Jey win King of the Ring. I don't know. Like some sort of reunification of the Usos as faces would be good, especially now with the tag team titles renamed and looking very good, by the way. Those titles are fantastic.
Yeah.
But I could see it going to Jey. Jey would be my pick just because I think Drew's going to be involved in the world championship scene. I think Gunther eventually will be too. I don't think it does anything for either one of them to be King of the Ring. But with Jey, I think it would be another notch to main event Usos' claim to be a main event wrestler.
I
Not mad at that.
Wow. All of you guys put up good arguments. I could make an argument for any of them. But one name we haven't mentioned is Chad Gable. Chad Gable would be...
He was a former runner-up, lost to Corbin in those finals 4 years ago. So
he just turned heel.
He just turned heel last week when he attacked Sami Zayn in Montreal. They did really good about that. Wayne saying they got to push LA Knight again. That King of the Ring could be a perfect opportunity to give him that push. Looking at like who was King of the Ring before with like Triple H, Stone Cold, Booker T. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. How it elevated people from like that mid-card region to that main event level. Like, I feel like all of us just named people who would greatly benefit from that main event push. So we'll be keeping tabs on that as well. But want to hit you guys with a few questions. We got about 8-9 minutes left on the show, and got very vast different topics for you guys. Staying on the wrestling topic for one more moment. Mike, NXT is tonight. Ilya Dragunov, Trick Williams for the NXT title. And what's significant about this is the WWE draft is this weekend. It's going to be on Friday and then continue on Monday. So I'm predicting one of these guys is going up to the main roster and the other guy is holding the NXT title. What do you think happens?
Whoop that trick.
Yeah.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
Yeah.
Whoop that trick.
I like it.
Oh yeah, me and Shannon. That's the team right there, baby. Whoop that trick. is going to be staying in NXT tonight when he defeats the Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, for the NXT Championship. Now, Dez did not see Raw, but Imperium did implode. So could we possibly see a new member of Imperium? And could that new member be Ilya Dragunov when he gets drafted Friday or Monday? Speaking of the draft, my mock draft just came out, so take a look at that after Out of Pocket. It's on my YouTube channel. We had a 30-round draft, so it's a long one.
Wow.
That is super long. That feels like a whole weekend right there. My NFL draft friends will know a lot about that. Now, one flip the page back to the NFL as well on this That Age Well segment. Shannon, speaking of the draft is going to happen Thursday night. It's pretty self-explanatory who the number one pick is. Maybe number two is up in the air right now. Does Washington take a quarterback? Do they trade back? But my question to you is, no matter who takes them, who is the second quarterback off the draft board this Thursday?
Now, I've had to look at these quarterbacks again. I went through some tape. I looked at some season games as well, too, from all three of these quarterbacks. I honestly believe Jaden Daniels is going to be the second quarterback taken. Yes, I'm taking it back. I know you gave me this question because Drake May is a Carolina guy, and I'm a Carolina guy. I know. But I think more than anything, Jaden Daniels, I think, is more ready to start than Drake May is. Now, Drake May had wonderful numbers. Big numbers, great numbers, but I got to be real with it. He played in the ACC, and Jaden Daniels put up Heisman Trophy numbers. And let's be real with it. Caleb Williams didn't even play for the best team this year, so we can't really sit around here and say that Jaden Daniels is better than Caleb Williams because Caleb Williams is living off his junior year. Let's be honest with you, because his stats were not as stellar as his junior years. Jaden Daniels had a wonderful year this year, even though LSU fell short and they were not the better team in the SEC. Jaden Daniels lit up the score sheet not a day in, day out. So I would say Jaden Daniels is probably going to go to Washington.
Wow. I mean, that's out of pocket for that Caleb disrespect.
Is it? I mean, he's the Heisman Trophy winner. He's the reigning Heisman.
He's
Trophy
right.
winner.
It's kind of a shame that a lot of the experts had him so low on the boards when he did win the Heisman. I'm all on the Caleb Williams train. Like, Caleb Williams, number one pick overall, but Jaden Daniels needs to be talked about because I think at most complete player is Jaden Daniels. Shannon's right.
Riddle me this right here. How in the world did Bo Nix get in the first round? Please, somebody answer me that question. I need answers.
Yo, people talking about JJ McCarthy going in the top
JJ McCarthy,
picks. Like, what's happening?
That's another one.
People Ryan said in the cat cave about JJ McCarthy. That was great. Jim Harbaugh is trying to push him down everybody's throat. And
yeah, I think that's what's going on. Because I heard a rumor that the Chargers are interested in trading Justin Herbert to the Vikings for their first round pick and some other stuff, so that they can draft McCarthy. And I was just like, no, no. I love Harbaugh, but he's not nuts like that. No.
Man,
not at all.
That would I think it was Dez last week who was like, if you like him so much, trade Justin Herbert, and you
no, that was Ryan that said it on the cat cave.
Oh, that was Ryan. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm putting words in Dez's mouth, so hopefully he could.
I'm used to it. People do it all the time. People do it all the time. Don't even worry about it. You seen my Facebook feed? Like, yeah.
Dez's Facebook feed's full of just Duke hate the entire time.
Oh boy,
because
really, it's really not. That's just a perception from the outside. Like.
Soft and sucks thing still makes me laugh to this day, though. The difference between soft and sucks that makes me laugh.
And they still don't get it. They still don't understand it. So you'll find out when Cooper Flagg don't want any contact here in about 6 months.
Yes.
Hey,
and you're gonna be like, "What's wrong with Cooper Flagg? You don't want to touch nobody."
Hey,
none of these
Duke
players
is
do.
hit. Duke is hitting the transfer portal. They just got Malik Brown from Syracuse.
They don't have a choice. What are they supposed to do? They can't just play with the 6 freshmen coming in. Like, they got to hit the transfer portal. So Shire's doing his thing though.
Where's Jeremy Roach going?
Yeah. I heard Baylor. I heard he's going to Baylor.
Jeremy Roach is
yes.
Yep. Jeremy Roach has committed to Baylor, which That's going to be tough. That's going to be one of those guys you never thought you'd see in another college uniform, and Roach wearing that green for Baylor. I mean, happy for him. Hope he excels. But staying on the topic of hoops, Des, what team do you think wins the NBA Eastern Conference? We saw some really amazing games last night. We saw, I won't keep hammering on the Nuggets beating the Lakers, but we also saw the Cavs beat the Magic, go up 2-0 that series. The Knicks beat the 76ers and go 2-0 that series. Do you think either of those teams could win?
I'm kind of leaning towards, Boston should be the ones that come out of the East. They've been the best team in the league all year. But I'm kind of, like, the kid in me is kind of rooting for the Knicks. I'm kind of rooting for the Knicks to do it. Just because that fan base has suffered for so long. They haven't won a title since 1973. And it's funny, too, because I was in this O.J. Simpson hole last week. I was, like, going back and watching, like, the People versus O.J. Simpson and all this other stuff. And I forgot, kind of, in 94, when the police were chasing O.J. down the highway or whatever, that preempted the 1994 NBA Finals. It was the Knicks and the Rockets. Like, I was at a friend's house, and we were watching the finals. Like, this is in June. Like, this is like game 1 or game 2. And literally Bob Costas comes on the screen, and it's like, sometimes things are bigger than sports and blah, blah, blah. And they made it where the big picture was them chasing OJ, and the finals is this little square down the bottom. And that was the last time the Knicks made it to the NBA Finals. Like, they made it in 99 in the shortened season against the Spurs. But that was the last time they really made it with their Patrick Ewing core or whatever, that 90s Knicks team. And the Knicks have just been in perpetuity ever since. This Knicks team and Jalen Brunson, we were talking about MVP candidates a couple of weeks ago. Jalen Brunson should have been up there in that conversation for MVP candidate, maybe even over Luka, because the Mavs are like a 5 seed or whatever in the West. The Knicks are the 2 seed in the East. And honestly, I don't know for sure Boston's that much better than the Knicks in a 7-game series once it gets down to it. All the other teams in the East have flaws. Milwaukee's missing Giannis. Orlando's young. Cleveland's young. I'll say the Knicks. I'll go with the Knicks. I wouldn't mind seeing a Knicks versus
Nuggets. You're about to say Nuggets. You're about to say Nuggets.
Lakers Knicks is what the NBA would love, but
oh yeah, Cook.
I can see Denver, New York. That would be interesting too. So
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I love how Des paused. You're like, maybe I shouldn't say this, but
listen.
If
it takes an O.J. Simpson sacrifice to get the Knicks to the NBA Finals, sign me up, baby. That's all I care about. It has been since Carmelo Anthony, Stoudemire. I don't even remember how old I was. I don't remember what year that was, like 08, 09. Yeah, Knicks lost to the Celtics in the conference finals. That's the last time I can remember seeing them in any sort of deep playoff run. And then last year they got bounced first round or whatever. So
and then like Durant and Irving and them shunned them and went to the Nets instead of the Knicks, and just the Knicks, man. I feel for the Knicks fans. It feels like this is the year where, like, if you're a tortured fan base, this is the year where you can kind of get some get back. So like after NC State, the Knicks are kind of the ones in the NBA where it's like, all right, if there were blue bloods in the NBA, you would consider the Knicks a blue blood, right? They haven't sniffed a title in 50 years. So I'm kind of going for the Knicks here. I like their style. I like their swagger. So I like Jalen.
We're back, Des. You're my best friend again.
Y'all better watch out. Latrell Sprewell's coming after y'all.
Yeah.
If you missed that reference with Mike and Des, they were beefing about Cody Roman a few weeks ago, and now they're best of friends. They're best of friends.
It was never beef. You just want to blow it up.
Yeah,
wrestling talk. Yeah,
exactly. and I'll say in the end, Mike was probably right in terms of, the bloodline didn't need the belt to continue on the story. I didn't know they were going to do what they started doing, and what it looks like they're about to start doing. I do think the belt will gravitate back to the bloodline eventually. Like, they are going to need it for whatever is going to happen here in the end. But I'm excited. It's a fun time. Triple H era. Like, it's just a fun time in wrestling right now to be a fan and to be able to go out in public and tell people I'm a wrestling fan. Because, there's been ebbs and flows where we're not able to do that, or everyone's doing it. Feels like it's a time where everybody's kind of refining wrestling again. So it's been fun.
It's been fantastic. That's why we cover it on Out of Pocket during your weekdays. But we're out of time. Hope you guys enjoyed your lunch break with us. Out of Pocket will be back Thursday, 12:30, 1 p.m. Eastern, talking about this NFL draft in more detail. Friday, we'll cover more about the Panthers, what they're doing at 33, what they're doing at 39. We'll know a little bit more as the week goes on. Drop the Mic and Cat Cave will be on tomorrow on a Wednesday. Go check out Mouth Off with Mike and his WWE mock draft. And all of the Out of Pocket episodes are going to be available on demand through Tobacco Road Sports Radio. So if you tuned in just a few minutes late, you can catch the beginning of it here on the YouTube channel. But for Michael Davis, it's been Shannon Smith, Mike Mele, and Desmond Johnson. And it's been Out of Pocket. We will see you back on Thursday.